The Tekken series essentially revolves around the Mishima family. The family has some of the most wicked members to ever come out of a video game franchise, but even among them, there is one character who stands out as the pinnacle of evil, Kazuya Mishima. First introduced in the 1994 Tekken game as a protagonist, he soon turned out to be the evilest member of the Mishima clan. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video to learn more about Kazuya Mishima. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Kazuya's journey from a timid boy to a raging warmonger. Kazuya grew up on the Mishima estate, the Mishima clan's expansive mansion in Japan, where he was raised by his father, Heihachi Mishima, and mother Kazumi Mishima. Kazuya was raised as a kind young child while receiving training from his grandfather, Jinpachi Mishima. Heihachi started training Kazuya after Jinpachi and his mother Kazumi vanished mysteriously, following which he started disciplining Kazuya in a violent manner. Heihachi later tells him that he killed Kazumi in cold blood after realizing that Kazuya was too soft for him, which infuriated Kazuya and made him develop a strong sense of hatred against his own father. However, this one time, Heihachi knocked Kazuya unconscious and threw him down a cliff to test his strength and determine whether or not he truly inherited Kazumi's genes, despite his valiant attempts to get revenge on his mother. Due to the psychological toll that his mother's death and his father's betrayal had on him, Kazuya lost his compassion and changed into an evil man with demonic strength. He then climbed back to the cliff he had been thrown into and vowed revenge on Heihachi, hating him for everything. This was made possible because of the devil gene that Kazuya inherited from his mother's bloodline. Heihachi adopted Li Chaolan when Kazuya was 13, but he did it merely to give Kazuya a competitor, which often made the two hate one another. Kazuya competed in several regional competitions to increase his strength, winning every time. Only one other person, Paul Phoenix, an American practitioner of judo, had managed to draw with him. Kazuya, however, paid him no attention. Kazuya finally advanced to the Tekken tournament's finals. Using his newly acquired demonic might, he shocked Heihachi and triumphed over him. Kazuya threw Heihachi down the same cliff that he had previously been thrown into as retaliation for what he had done. Although the tournament's only reward was only a monetary sum, Kazuya inherited the Mishima Zaibatsu Empire after his father had disappeared. With his victory, he grew intoxicated on power, and perhaps out of retaliation for Heihachi's shady tactics in operating the Zaibatsu, Kazuya operated the organization in far harsher ways, displaying more blatant cruelty, peddling drugs, destroying dojos, and trafficking deadly animals. Kazuya began the second Tekken tournament with the intention of eliminating all competitors after realizing that he was drawing attention. During the tournament, he fell for a competing fighter named Jun Kazama. Kazuya ended up spending a night with her, and as a result, she got pregnant. Heihachi Mishima mysteriously showed up before the finals and challenged Kazuya to a fight. However, Kazuya becomes preoccupied with the conflict between his inner devil and the strange entity known as Angel during the match, which may have been prompted by his friendship with Jun. That led to Kazuya's loss, and Heihachi threw him into a volcano. Kazuya's devil was divided in two, and one of them ultimately managed to get out of his body and establish contact with his son, who took over as the series' new protagonist after his father. But Kazuya's story would not conclude there. Days later, Kazuya's remains were discovered by the cutting-edge biotechnology company G Corporation. After an unspecified amount of time, G Corporation was able to bring Kazuya back to life. He ultimately consented to be used as a subject for their research after they came to an understanding. Kazuya had learned from his experiences and vowed to fully control his devil abilities the next time he met Heihachi. Naturally, Kazuya's plans did not work out as he had hoped. Heihachi learned that part of Kazuya's remains were in possession of G Corporation 20 years after Kazuya had been tossed into a volcano. Heihachi wanted to develop an artificial devil gene out of Kazuya's DNA to increase his own strength. Heihachi infiltrated G Corporation with his Tekken force. He attacked the G Corporation facilities in Nebraska and Nepal simultaneously. However, Kazuya was discovered to be alive in the Nebraska facility and defeated the members of Heihachi's Tekken force. Following the discovery of Kazuya's existence, Heihachi organized the fourth Iron Fist tournament to entice Kazuya, along with his son Jin Kazama, into the open. Heihachi shot Jin at the conclusion of the last tournament, making it known that Kazuya's kid also had the devil gene. Jin ran away and spent 2 years in hiding. In order to complete his devil-human integration program, Heihachi needed genetic material from either of them. Despite being aware that his father had set up the 4th competition as a trap, Kazuya showed up. He was scheduled to compete against his son in the tournament's semifinals, but Jin was taken hostage by the Tekken force before they could even meet each other for the first time. Instead, they got together following Kazuya's defeat against Heihachi in the tournament's championship round. Heihachi led Kazuya to the location of Jin's detention in Honmaru. Kazuya became possessed by his devil after meeting his son. It gained control of Kazuya's awareness without changing him, pushed Heihachi aside, and then attempted to absorb the remainder of Jin's devil gene while tormenting an unconscious Jin. Kazuya, however, was able to battle his devil for control, imitating the strategy it had employed to instead take complete control over the devil himself. Kazuya managed to unite with his devil gene and subdue it. Since this incident, Kazuya has the ability to voluntarily change into his devil form. Despite this, his son still managed to overcome him by attacking both Heihachi and him before displaying mercy and escaping into the night. Jack robots then attacked Kazuya and Heihachi while they were still in Honmaru. After initially cooperating, Kazuya tossed Heihachi onto the robots and escaped as they exploded. The reanimated Jinpachi Mishima was let free from his grave under Honmaru by the ensuing explosion. Starving himself to death, Jinpachi was possessed by a vengeful spirit. In order to find a warrior powerful enough to defeat the furious spirit and put him to rest, Jinpachi gained control of the Zaibatsu while still possessing some of his last surviving human awareness. The majority of Iron Fist Tournament 5 was spent by Kazuya looking for the person who attacked Honmaru. When it became clear that G Corporation had deceived him and orchestrated the attack, Kazuya executed the executives in charge of the company and took over management. Between the events of Tekken 5 and Tekken 6, he was appointed its new CEO. But because Jin Kazama had won the Iron Fist tournament and Heihachi was still away, Jin became the new CEO of Zaibatsu. Jin then arbitrarily waged war on the entire planet, believing that the devil gene must be destroyed to overthrow corrupt governments and businesses. He supposedly thought he was avoiding a larger evil and that his devil gene was beginning to exert more and more power over him. Jin was being chased by Kazuya as he attempted to confront and kill Azazel. Kazuya eventually withdrew after being defeated by Lars Alexanderson close to the chamber of Azazel and allowed Lars to triumph, but not before warning him that because they are both of the Mishima bloodline, they are doomed to battle and betray one another forever, and that he cannot escape his fate. While Heihachi declares his return in the details of the 7th King of Iron Fist tournament, Kazuya watches from the G Corporation tower, unhinged that Heihachi is still alive. Kazuya instructs his staff to speed up the arrangements for his objectives after learning that Heihachi is looking for Jin. Later on, as Akuma targets Heihachi in the Mishima dojo, Kazuya dispatches his Jack 6 troops to murder him. But when he finds out that Kazumi assigned Akuma to murder Heihachi and him as well, he doesn't believe it and hysterically laughs, considering his mother's assignment to be silly. Additionally, he is also curious about Akuma's strength. On the next day, Akuma quickly confronts him. He commands his troops to lead Akuma to the tower top rather than face him in combat. Kazuya is mocked by Akuma when he asks him if the tower is where he intends to draw his last breath. Kazuya replies that he only selected Akuma's final resting place. Kazuya inquires as to how Akuma knew his mother before their altercation. Without going into detail, Akuma claims that Kazumi had once saved his life. In order to strengthen his might after being caught off guard by his opponent's incredible abilities, Kazuya assumes his devil form. However, he is unaware that the Mishima Zaibatsu has captured this transformation on video. Heihachi then uses a laser assault from a satellite that knocked down a G Corporation tower to attack Kazuya and Akuma. Despite Kazuya's survival from the assault, G Corporation is despised since his demon form was made public. Kazuya, determined to get the final laugh, fires a devil beam at Heihachi's satellite, which causes it to crash to Earth and wipe out an entire city. The Mishima Zaibatsu is erroneously thought to have wrecked its own satellite, and once more the public is siding with the G Corporation. Kazuya ultimately faces Heihachi inside a volcano a few hours later. Kazuya transforms into his demon form during the battle and beats Heihachi. However, his father gathers all of his might and overcomes him, forcing him to return to his human form. Heihachi headbutts Kazuya, and despite the fact that both of them are now quite weak, they continue to trade blows. Kazuya eventually puts an end to Heihachi with a lethal strike to the chest while gazing up at the father he has detested his entire life. Then he takes his father's body and throws it into the lava. Although the outcome of the conflict remains uncertain, Kazuya continues to plan his schemes for global dominance. Kazuya in Tekken Bloodline. The Tekken Bloodline series takes place before and during the third King of Iron Fist tournament. The series revolves around Jin Kazama and his journey as he seeks revenge on the sentient being named Ogre, who killed his mother. Jin was instructed by his mother to find his grandfather Heihachi. During his training with Heihachi, Jin learns about his father, Kazuya, who was defeated by Heihachi during the second tournament and was presumed dead. Jin also learns about his father's devil gene, which gives him supernatural strength and power. Kazuya doesn't make an appearance throughout the series, and we only come across a few old videos of him fighting Heihachi while Jin is traveling with the rest of the fighters to the venue of the tournament. What makes Kazuya Mishima so deadly? Kazuya fights in the Mishima style of karate, whereas Kazuya's style has significant influences of Shotokan karate. Kazuya's moveset promotes intense single strikes that provides a lot of brutal power despite being mostly sluggish and risky on blocks. Kazuya's most lucrative style of play is built around block punishment because the majority of his top techniques are predictable and difficult to surprise with. Kazuya's punitive abilities such as the Electric Wind God Fist, one of the finest punishers in any game he plays, if not the best, are really his greatest strengths. In conclusion, he is often best employed as a defensive character, and controlling his skills demands exceptional timing. Kazuya is a potent force of steady aggressiveness in the hands of an experienced player. Despite this somewhat excessive dependence on timing and solid defense, to keep the upper hand, a certain pattern of blocks, sidesteps, and dodges must be used, and Kazuya's assault is essentially unbeatable with clever stun placement. Marvelous appearance of Kazuya Mishima in other media. Over the years, Kazuya has appeared in a number of non-canonical Tekken games, crossovers, and movies, both animated and live-action. In the Tekken Tag Tournament, Kazuya is a playable character. His Tekken 2 moveset is still present, although numerous new moves have been added due to his absence in Tekken 3. In Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Kazuya is back as a character that can be controlled. His regular and devil forms are combined into one character slot as opposed to having distinct character slots as they did in the inaugural Tekken Tag Tournament. He still has the same moveset from Tekken 6, but with additional moves added. This fits with the existing narrative, which depicts Kazuya gaining complete control over his devil following the events of Tekken 4. The Street Fighter X Tekken game features Kazuya. Along with Chun-Li, Ryu, and Nina Williams, he was initially unveiled as one of the first 3 playable characters. Kazuya discovers Pandora, a strange box that crashes into the Antarctic. Then, in his pursuit of supremacy and global rule, he intends to harness the power of the box to strengthen his devil gene, vanquish his son Jin, and seize power of the Mishima Zaibatsu. At that very time, Nina Williams, an old enemy, emerges from the shadows. Nina makes the decision to travel with Kazuya to the Antarctic. She offers her aid, but because of her connection to Jin and the Mishima Zaibatsu, she is obligated to follow Kazuya's instructions even if she despises him. Kazuya and Nina encounter Ryu and Ken Masters while traveling. Nina advises Kazuya to leave them alone since she doesn't want to annoy them, but Kazuya is intrigued by the 2 warriors and their might. To Nina's dismay, he issues a challenge to both of them in order to put his demonic abilities and their strength to the test before he arrives in the Antarctic. Kazuya also appears in the Tekken card tournament. As stated in his in-game description, he gains strength and his card's abilities begin to work when his health reaches a certain level, which is a disadvantage because his strongest cards have activation thresholds that are quite low. In addition, he is skilled at dealing rather forceful blows, however sometimes this comes at the expense of his health. Kazuya, played by Ian Anthony Dale, is the major antagonist in the 2010 live-action movie Tekken. He doesn't have any of the physical scars the video game character does, and he has facial hair. In the Tekken Corporation, Kazuya is Heihachi's right-hand man and aspires to take over the business. Also, Kazuya uses melee weapons rather than engaging in hand-to-hand fighting. Additionally, the movie does not address the Devil Jin plotline. At the conclusion of the competition, Jin Kazama triumphs over him. Kazuya is one of Tekken Bloodline Vengeance's key villains. He is still in charge of G Corporation and Anna Williams, whom he directs to hire Ling Xiaoyo as a spy to learn more about Jin's former classmates Shin Kamiya, knowing very well that Jin would never hurt Xiaoyo. Marvelous verdict. Kazuya is motivated by his need for authority, dominance, and retribution against his father. From Tekken 2 onwards, he has demonstrated that everything is subordinate to his aspirations for total dominance and power. Despite first seeming to be a compassionate protagonist in Tekken, Kazuya has very few people with whom he is not frigid or harsh. In his pursuit of total dominance, he frequently laughs at the suffering of others, talks down to them, and has gathered a sizable number of adversaries, many of whom have suffered personal harm as a result of his actions. If you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.